Hello, namaste, welcome to this video. I'm feeling really inspired just to share with you guys like a life update, how I ended up in Tennessee, to bring you up to speed on everything that's been happening on this road trip. I feel like some of you might be like wondering, how the hell did I get here? Um, and I shared this video where I told you guys like I'm going out on my own. This road trip, this journey really has been about learning how to stand on my own 2 feet for the first time since Kundalini awakened. Um, Feels like, yeah, about 3.5 years ago. Um, and so, yeah, I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed and to tell you, it was there was a lot of pain there for a while. There was a lot of moments where in the past it was a moment where I would have turned back. I would have said, okay, enough pain. There's too much resistance to this. I've just, I gotta go back home, or I've gotta go move in with somebody, or, I would have really kind of waved the white flag and said, enough is enough. And I met that resistance a few times on this journey. So you know, I was driving and I wasn't really finding a place where I wanted to settle down, and I was starting to get really frustrated because I knew I had this retreat with Craig Holiday and Sangha coming up, which has since passed. And that was a really profound retreat, and I'll talk about that more later in this video. But I knew I had that retreat coming up, and I knew I wanted to be somewhere grounded, rooted, in a place where my inner child felt like safe and could relax. I knew I didn't want to be living on the road from hotel to hotel, Airbnb to Airbnb. I really wanted to root down somewhere for at least a chunk of time, going into the retreat. And it just wasn't happening. I just wasn't finding the right place. And everywhere I kept like trying to book these Airbnbs, there would just be something wrong with it. Like it wouldn't have Wi-Fi, which obviously doesn't work for me with my business, or it wouldn't, or it was I couldn't book it for the right amount of time, and it's just every Airbnb things like just kept falling through, and I was getting so frustrated, and I was like trying to check into these hotels, but they kept smelling like cigarette smoke. And it was just one thing after another, and I really reached my breaking point. And I remember, maybe it was like a week and a half ago, before I found this place, I just remember being on the road and so frustrated, so at my end point, that I just pulled off into this rest area off the highway, and I just literally just kind of gave up. I was just through with it. I was through trying to find a place. I said to God finally, like, whatever, God, if I have to do this damn retreat in the back of my car, I don't care. If I have to do it in a smoky hotel, I don't care. But I'm done struggling with this, because obviously it's not destined to be that I'm supposed to have found a place yet, so I'm done fighting this. And I just accepted that where I was in the side of the highway in a rest area, eating vending machine almond snacks for dinner, and that was it. And I just let go into that, and I said, fine. I'm just kind of like, fuck it, I'm done fighting. And so I just got in the back of my car, and I just went into this meditation, and I just let go, and I just surrendered, and I just said, okay, whatever. And then after that, like a longish break, from frantically staring at my cell phone screen, like looking everywhere for a place to stay. I finally, had a break from that, went deep into a meditation, just surrendered and let go and accepted that, hey, I might be doing this retreat in the back of my car. And that's okay. If that's how God wants this to happen, then that's perfect. I'm done fighting with that. So I just released all that pressure that was building up. And then I picked my phone back up and I looked on Airbnb again, and a listing that I hadn't seen, that wasn't there before the meditation that I had just done. It wasn't there before that meditation. It was this new listing, and it was like this uplifting, healing mini home slash cabin, in the middle of nature in a beautiful town south of Nashville, Tennessee. And it was available for the dates I wanted. It was affordable. It was within my budget. Just when I looked at the picture and read the description saying that this was a place devoted to grace, devoted to sacredness and healing, it was like, of course, that's where I'm supposed to be for my retreat. And so I immediately booked it. I just booked it for 5 days initially. The retreat was for Friday through Sunday, but it was Tuesday at that time. So I wanted to be there a few days before to kind of just anchor in to the space. And so I booked it right away. And right when I got to the retreat, I ended up coming the next morning. Right when I got to the area I'm at now, this sacred space in Tennessee, I just started getting flooded with so many goosebumps, with so much warm grace flowing into me. It was like this incredible experience. I almost like started crying when I was talking to the lady who owns the land. She doesn't live on the land, but she owns it. And she's an energy healer, and she's been in the healing arts for 25 plus years. And when I connected with her, it was like this kinship, this like right away, of course, it was just like a beautiful connection. And I just felt, right when I got here, I just felt at home. I felt like just a sense of profound grace and just being held and supported, and how this would be an incredible place for me to go through a transformation and to support what is trying to be birthed through me, in the sense of like what the universe and the divine is trying to create and birth through me. I felt like this was just the perfect place. Like, it's basically a miracle. Like, I couldn't have even visualized something so perfect. And I'll take you guys for a tour here soon, but it's a place where there's fresh kale growing in the ground that I wake up and to break my fast with fresh kale out of the ground. There's like this incredible pond with frogs and fish, and you're just surrounded by trees and nature. And the woman who owns this has this very beautiful energy, and you can just feel how her nervous system is like so relaxed and at peace and healed. You can just feel her intention with allowing this space to be created through her. You can feel the loving intention that has been brought into every aspect of this sanctuary, of this sacred space. I mean, the divinity, it just flows here. That's the one thing I've noticed, that everything just flows. Everything has a purpose. It's an extremely devoted space. There's this mini house / cabin that I live in, and then there's a chalet, a main place down the way, a ways over there, and that's another place that people can also rent out, and that's a much bigger space. But it's all on one property, and that's beautiful because I have my privacy. I can definitely be alone whenever I want to be alone, but there's also, there can be socializing with people on a similar path when that's called for, and when that feels inspiring, or when it just basically happens. And so that is the beautiful part of the story, and the whole story is beautiful, but it was just incredible how I was led here. It just feels like I was pulled here. It was really divine will that I'm here right now, and just how this place really reflects what I'm allowing to be brought forward in my own life. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, how I'm allowing my life to become a living prayer. This place reflects that. It literally feels like a living prayer. So that happened, and that was really great, and I was feeling amazing, and right away I knew I need to be here longer than 5 days. Like, right away I knew that I could just feel that this space, it wouldn't be done with me after 5 days. And I just I wanted to honor that, and my heart got very excited about the prospect of staying here longer. And so right away I told her, I said, hey, I really actually want to commit to at least a month here, 5 weeks. And she was, the lady who runs it, she was very obliging. She was happy to hear that, and it was very easy. And then something within me started screaming so loud. Once I made the commitment, non-refundable, 5 weeks, I'm here. This is going to be my home. Once that happened, it's like I went from this heaven realm right into hell. Like this screaming started scorching through my body. Like and it's the same screaming that happened when I committed to being in Europe, when I committed to being in Mexico, and when I committed to trying to be on the road in Sedona/Arizona. It was this same move. It was that same. It was like this fire started taking over. My nervous system felt inflamed. It was so intense, and I felt so overwhelmed by it again. And I didn't understand it. I didn't know what the hell was going on because this place had felt so perfect. I had all the perfect signs, and yet my nervous system was on fire. And I felt all of a sudden that this place was just so wrong, and the mind was coming up with a million reasons why I shouldn't be here and why I felt trapped and stuck. And like I couldn't breathe. I even woke up one morning, like the next morning after making that commitment, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't breathe. I was like suffocating. Something in me was suffocating. And I was like, fuck, this again, and this is the place where I always would turn home and just go back home. This is the place where I just tell my inner child, fine, we'll leave here. It's okay. We're not trapped here. We'll just leave. And I tried to do it again, actually. Initially, I did do it again. I told the lady who runs it, I said, can I just cancel? Something feels off. I might have rushed into this. And she said, yeah, that's fine, no problem. And she's just going to give me a refund and everything, and even though she didn't have to. And then I sat with that, Once I realized, okay, I'm free to leave, I can do that, I just sat with it. I'm like, what's going on here? I looked around, I was like, what's real here? And I just said, you know what? What I'm feeling right now, this is going to follow me no matter where I go. If it shows up here, then it's going to show up anywhere. And I spoke to the lady again. I said, and I told her that exact thing that I just told you guys. I said, you know what? I have a feeling this is going to follow me anywhere. It has nothing to do with the place. I'm just going to stay, and I'm going to see what's on the other side of these flames for once. It's like I told her, even if I have to sit here and burn alive for 35 straight days, 5 straight weeks, I'm doing it. I'm committed to that. I'm committing to that path because I'm not going home. I know that. There's just no way I'm going home, is what I told her. And there's nowhere else I can imagine going that would be more aligned. So I'm just going to stay here and see what is going on within. And that's what I did. I just committed. And right when I made that commitment, that I was just going to sit here and literally burn, let the nervous system be inflamed, let the inner child just scream as loud as he wanted to. That's when all the insights about what this really was started flooding in. The insight that this really comes down to a fear of commitment. A fear of commitment that I've always had, that's always run my life. I've always went from relationship to relationship, job to job, city to city, house to house. Everything has been just driven by my fear of commitment because and I'm not saying that this has everything to do with my childhood. This could be past life stuff. But I watched in a Teal Swan video when I was trying to inform myself on the fear of commitment. One of the things she brought up is if we can't fully invest in our caretakers when we're young, if we can't fully commit to them, like if there's some emotional instability there, if, we could even have, I know in my childhood, my parents had a tremendous amount of love for me, and they still do, and they always will. Like a lot of love was in my childhood. But sometimes when our parents, they don't really know how to love themselves, maybe they're just, kind of silly kids, and they don't know what they're doing. Like, shit, if I had kids when I was my parents' age, I would have traumatized my kids so much, like, make no mistake. So I'm not saying that this is anyone's fault or anything like that. It's just like, of course, we're not all raised by enlightened beings who are completely able to love themselves. And so if we have caretakers who don't really know how to love themselves fully, and they may love us, but that can come out and like come through in terms of like controlling us, or maybe, like I said, if there's emotional stability there, if we can't always fully commit to them, if, as caretakers, then that's going to be a pattern that emerges throughout the rest of our life. And that was a pattern in me. It's like always the fear of commitment, because I always needed to know that there was an escape plan, that there was freedom. So I was like afraid to always root into something, afraid to really, to go all in. And that pattern finally revealed itself to me. And I finally saw, oh, this goes back to childhood and my fear of commitment and always needing to feel like I have an out, that I can run, that, that there's a freedom here. And that's what happened when I woke up at 3 in the morning and couldn't breathe and felt suffocated. I felt like, my freedom is gone. But that's also a misinterpretation of freedom, as one of my really good friends told me. Because if I always have to run and I can't commit to anything, that's a hell realm. That's not free. That I'm such a prisoner. If you can't commit to anything, you're a prisoner, right? You're in your own a little different prison. And it's like actually the freedom you're looking for is in committing to something. And so when I finally committed to just feeling the flames, to going through the pain, that's when that realization came to me of, oh yeah, this is just a fear of commitment. And I'm going to allow this fear of commitment to heal, to resolve itself by staying here, by breathing into that inner child who's screaming, who's saying, but there's no freedom. Remember what happened last time we committed? We can't commit to things. We get hurt, I just breathed into this inner child, I love you, and exhaling, it's okay. And just kept doing that, breathing in, I love you, and it's okay. And for a while, when we've neglected our inner child completely, it's really beautiful to just live your whole life for the inner child. Really just listen to it and do whatever it needs to feel safe. This is a beautiful movement. But after a while, we can start to deepen into a new movement where we can be the loving parent that knows better, that can tell the inner child, like, look, I get it, you're throwing a tantrum that we're committed to stay here for 5 weeks. I get that. And you can scream as loud as you want for as long as you want. I don't mind. I'm going to sit here and love you and give you loving, unconditionally loving attention the whole time. But as your parent that knows better, we're going to stay here. We're going to stay here because this place is perfect for you. It's perfect for us. And this is the place where you're going to get the most nourishment and the most love and the most support. So scream, keep screaming. I don't mind. Keep throwing the fit. But we're going to do what's best for you. And this is a new movement that when I finally committed to staying here has been born within me. Before I was really just, servile to that inner child. And like I said, that's beautiful because in my whole 20s and teenage years, I was completely oblivious of the inner child and just ignoring it, steamrolling it, whatever, just being mean to it. And so, for a while I had to go all the way to the other side, and that caused me to just kind of keep running from place to place. And the inner child wasn't ready to commit, so we weren't committing. The inner child wasn't ready to commit this time, but we committed anyways. And now the inner child is so happy. He feels so good here. It feels like home here. I even extended my stay another 4 weeks, and I don't know when I'll leave. It feels like I'll never want to leave, honestly. But I'm just going to continue to let grace decide that for me. But I wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm getting a little hot here. 1 second. I have this space heater. And so that came and went, and this was happening. I was going through those flames right as the Craig Holiday's retreat started. And oh my God, that brought in so much more light, so much more grace, so much more intensity. And I just got burnt for 3 days. Every meditation, I didn't know how I was going to make it through it. Like right before we would do we did 7 total meditations, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. And before each meditation, I literally had this feeling like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to get through this. Like my nervous system was already on fire before the retreat started because I was finally going through the transformation of healing my fear of commitment and feeling all the flames that brought with it. And then all of a sudden, it's like now we're opening to tremendous grace. And it was incredible. It was so healing. It was so profound. Now that I'm on the other side of it, I am so And even while I was going through it, I was really thankful for it because I knew what was happening on a deeper level. There was so many parts of me through the meditation that were screaming and turning away from God and saying, get me the fuck out of here. There's no way we're meditating again. And even at the end of the retreat, I came forward and basically didn't say much except for this really fucking hurt. And I'm just here to bring the pain to the light. And that was really beautiful. Just basically saying, here's the pain and I just want to bring it to the light. And even before I did that, there was this part of me screaming at me, you better not come forward and speak how much pain you're in to the rest of the retreat, to the rest of the Sangha. But again, it was that wise parent, that loving parent, doing what's best for the inner child, even when the inner child is fighting. I mean, my inner child was fighting me every meditation. Just quit. Just stop the retreat. Don't go forward. Don't share your truth about the retreat. But just being that loving parent for the inner child has really started to shift things. It's like now a deeper relationship I have even. I'm even like, my parenting has gone up a level, you could say. And my inner child feels that. He feels safer. He's like, oh, cool, there's an adult here. Yay, there's a maturity here now that I can trust, that I can rely on. He does have my best interest in mind. This is the perfect place for me. The retreat was really healing. He's starting to realize these things and feel these things. And he's just really lining up and integrating with this movement. So yeah, that's how I ended up here. Turns out there's really good organic food nearby. There's an incredible hiking place, nature place with a tremendous waterfall, like just down the road. And everything I could ever want or need is here, like incredible Wi-Fi connection, so everything's super smooth with the sessions and video uploads. Oh my God. I could do a whole video on these miracle balls, but you just like lay on them and breathe, and they just really loosen your fascia and help your life force energy flow through you. And the more your life force energy is flowing, the more you're going to get that reflection in your external of a flow. There's this incredible book that I found here that basically demanded that I read it. It's called Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark. Breaking free from the hidden forces that drive you. So this has turned out to be like the ultimate place for helping me step into something greater, really is what it feels like is happening. And yeah, I just wanted to share like what I went through to be where I'm at right now. I literally haven't felt this good in my entire life. In these last couple of days, this is the best I've ever felt on all levels. And been a lot of fucking flames to be here. Been a lot of learning how to work with the inner child to be here. A lot of trial and error. A lot of trips that didn't go as planned. A lot of, pain and suffering. But I feel really good. I feel really centered, really rooted, super grateful and appreciative to the divine for guiding me here, for all of you for supporting me, for supporting this journey. Thank you so much. I love each one of you very deeply. And yeah, that feels like a good share. If you guys would like to continue supporting my journey, I will put a PayPal link below that you can donate. And I'll also do a Venmo too. If you guys have Venmo, I can accept donations via Venmo. I will also put if you'd like to book a session with me, a healing session, I'll put that below as well. I really feel like I'm moving into this place where, a lot of maybe specializing more in inner child healing. If that calls to you, if you feel guided to that, I would really love to connect with you in that way. That's how I feel guided to move right now with the sessions. But anyways, thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.